Okay, I am going to show you a quick tutorial on these little tiny itty bitty flowers on a sugar cookie. So the first one we're going to start with is this cute little bouquet of flowers. So you start by just flat icing in white or natural buttercream, just a very thin layer of frosting to give it that white background. Then after you do that, you just start with different colors in the Wilton 13. It's a tiny, tiny star tip. And you're just gonna go and you're gonna do one tight little circle with this tiny, tiny star tip in all different colors of your choosing. It makes these tiny little roses. You just scatter them about. I do 2 or 3, mainly 2, so that I don't end up with too many all around these tiny, tiny little roses. Then I can fill in later if I need to. Okay, once I've done 2 of each one, I take a Wilton 3, which is just a tiny circle, with green to make the stems. And I just follow, but I'm gonna have them all come to an angle so it makes like a triangle bouquet. Some of them can't really come down, so I just make a short one so that it doesn't look like a floating flower. Okay, and I want to fill it up just a little bit more in between. So now I just take random colors and I just go fill up some of those spots that are a little too empty in between the bouquet, because your bouquet is full. Oh, we already used red. Let's go back to this purple. You can fill it up as much as you'd like. Just itty bitty flowers. All right, like most bouquets, I like to tie them up with a little bow. So I get a colored, whatever color I want, not green, so it doesn't look like a stem, in that Wilton 3 again. And I just make one oval, and then an oval right next to that oval, and then 2 little tails to make a nice bow. Then for my outside border, I'm using a Wilton 16. And on the Wilton 16, there's a side that has teeth and a side that is flat. We're gonna make sure the teeth is facing up to give it that nice ruffled look. And I just squeeze some into a bunch and then go straight without squeezing too much pressure for a minute. And you see it just makes those tiny little gatherings. Just kind of a pretty design. I just do even pressure and then kind of a lot of pressure and move it up to make a nice little gather like that. And there you have it. There's the bouquet. Now, the next one I'm gonna do is this which is just lots of tiny little roses surrounding a pink flower. So again, I'm just gonna flat ice in white. And then I'm going to start with just one of my Wilton 13s. I'm gonna start in a section one side of my cookie and just make little tiny tight circles with the Wilton 13 to make these little roses. I'm gonna scatter them throughout. Then I'm gonna choose a different color, whichever color I want next. Yellow in this case, and I'm gonna start and I'm just gonna scatter them about. Now, whatever color you use next, you're gonna make a bunch, and then you're gonna go in with that color and fill in the gaps in the previous bunch. That way, they will be full and cascading in a different color. Kind of makes a cute pattern. Then I'll pick my second color, or my third color, sorry, and do the same thing, but this time with the red. Fill it in. And then I'll go back into the yellow and make tiny little roses. To fill in. Then I'll pick my next color and I will make a little bunch. And then go fill in on the red. On all of the things that I'm piping, I just am pushing some even pressure, making a swirl, stopping the pressure to pull away. And then my last is this purple. And go fill in. Okay, and then to fill in this one, I used the color that was before the very first, so the blue. The blue gets a spot to fill in as well. Don't want to leave out the blue. Okay, now that I've made all the roses, I like to just go and get that green that is in my 3 and make tiny, tiny little dots and kind of just a little bit of pressure and then release the pressure and kind of pull it away to make it almost a little pointed, like a leaf. And not too many of them, just like to add a few in. You actually can decide how many you want. It's your art. Okay. Then I take my Wilton 30. It's a tiny, tiny flat. And just like the previous bow we did, we're gonna do a big oval and then a big oval and then 2 little tails. And there's your bow. So that one is done. Now, the next one I am going to do is this 3 rose bunch with some, let's see if I can focus. Okay, so we're gonna do this little rose cluster. So The first thing we start with is some flat ice with white. I just make a thin flat ice. Then with that tiny star tip, what is it, Wilton 13, I make 3 clusters. I do 2 of them each in each color. I just scatter them all throughout. I'm just doing that tiny little circle again with the star tip in 3 little clusters, just a tiny, very tight circle to make little rosebuds. Okay, when I'm done, I take that Wilton 3 again in green, and I just go and I just put a little pressure, release the pressure, and pull it away to make a kind of leaf shape. If you pull it away without any pressure, it will kind of point the leaf so it looks more realistic. I do 1 or 2 on each bundle. And then I go about the rest of the cookie and I do a sporadic single circle, single rows to fill it up so that it doesn't look bare on the edges or in the white space. And ta-da! There's that one. Okay, next we're gonna do this little kind of like a meadow of flowers. All of the cookies today are just a flat ice at the beginning with white to fill the void of frosting. Okay. And then this one, we're just gonna start with some roses again, like all the others, just in sporadic spots, but all on the second half of the cookie, so that we're gonna build our meadow of flowers. I did 2 of each color. Again, just those tiny little spirals with the Wilton 13 close together, so it's a tight rose. And then I took a, where is it? Here it is. A purple or a maroon in a Wilton 3. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you on the side here, is I'm just gonna start with a little dollop like that, that is just a little bit of pressure released. And then I'm gonna dollop in a V shape, and a V shape, and a V shape, and make this kind of long flower. I'm gonna do it just throughout the cookie. just for a variety of flowers so that it's not all roses in here. Kind of a longer flower bud. Okay. Then I'm going to take my green in the same Wilton 3, and I'm going to take and make a stem down the bottom. Just go straight down. Even pressure and drag the tip down. And then release the pressure as you get to the bottom. Okay, obviously this doesn't look full, so I'm gonna do a few more green stem lines. And I can go fill those in with some more flowers. So now I can just take, I really like this different flower. And then just add in some more roses. Wherever I feel like it is needed, come down a little bit lower and fill some of the space below as well. Just wherever I want, fill it in. And ta-da! There's my cute little meadow of flowers. Okay, now we're gonna do this one where it's just kind of vines, flower vines draping down. Again, starting with that flat ice. Oop. Shook my camera. I start with just some stems coming down. And like I did with that red flower right here, but opposite, I'm going to make little V's facing down. Like little leaves. Okay, then I'm going to take all of my Wilton 13s again and just make the tiny little flowers. Tiny little roses all over the leaves, all around. I do a different color for each stem. Sporadically wherever I choose. And yellow. Okay, obviously this doesn't look full. So I'm going to take my green again and I'm just going to fill in a few more vines coming down, maybe one in between each one, and then place in some more roses wherever I want to fill in